Welcome everybody to another episode of It Came From Facebook. Today we're going to be dunking on Ducati people. Ducati people put up their bikes for sale on Marketplace. They almost always either way overinflate the price or come in with some crazy old crap that nobody wants and way overinflate the price. So we're looking at the absolute state of Ducati owners on Marketplace. I thought this gentleman was emblematic of it. I don't know who this is. If this is you, I'm so sorry. Let's get into it. The first bike we're looking at is this 2006 Ducati 999. Now, don't confuse that for what the Germans used to do back in the 40s. 999. This is not a BMW or Porsche or whatever podcast. It is simply a YouTube video where we're talking about Ducatis. So, the 999, the 999, the seller wants $5,900. This is commonly thought of as the ugly Ducati. People often thought of this bike as being way too performance-oriented, not beautiful enough. This superseded the 916, and it actually is a really good motorcycle, but a lot of people wanted it to be more beautiful. So, seller says 2006 Ducati 999 has 10,000 miles. Clean title in my name, needs some fairings. Let's see, I think the fairings look pretty decent, actually. Current bodywork shows scratches and is missing left side wing as shown in the picture. We'll have to take a closer look at that. Carbon fiber wheels, that's pretty nice. Turmy exhaust, 20-year-old bike, so it does show wear and tear. Has small oil leak, no test rides without cash in hand. So definitely a couple issues here, right? But as he said, it's a 20-year-old motorcycle that was used probably as intended. I mean, 10,000 miles over 20 years really isn't that bad. Let's take a look at some of the photos. We do see that that wing has snapped off here and looks a little rough. That might have just been a kind of parking lot tip over or a situation that happened when he was loading the bike up. But I gotta say, it's pretty darn clean. I have never seen compression and rebound adjusters with giant star turning mechanisms such as that. Kind of feels like you're about to tickle that Ducati's erogenous zones. Perhaps you're going to hit a power up in Mario and get the star power for your Ducati. Actually, the way you go fastest on track with one of these is you're actually full pin, and when you finally reach the top of the revs, you take your hands off, grab the Ducati nipples up top, squeeze as hard as you can, gain an extra 10 miles an hour. Don't say that I tried that. My attorney has to tell you that that is a joke. Do not go and try that. Now, pretty rough here on the wear and tear. This gentleman has what we call steel nuts and balls and unit members down below the belt, because that's the only way I can make sense of why that is so torn up down here in the middle. Of course, it is if he was wearing a belt and constantly shimmying from side to side, which you will do on a Ducati because, you know, sometimes you're seeing the people looking at you. You're like, yeah, who's looking at me on my really sweet Ducati? And then, you know, your steel testiculars keep scratching up the bike and that really messes it up. It's a very sensual experience owning a Ducati 999. You really get involved with the bike. Trellis frame, you can see it right here through the fairings. Beautiful thing that it is. The carbon fiber wheels, Ducati branded. I don't know if this was a factory accessory, but oh my lord, it gets me excited. I love to see some carbon fiber wheels. Carbon fiber tire hugger as well. Tires that have never seen more than 20 degrees of lean. You love to see it. This is exactly the kind of Ducati that you would want to go and buy. This one is pretty clean for a 20-year-old Ducati that has seen some street miles, has seen some wear and tear. The Termies look nice. The carbon fiber molded onto them as well. I think it's got a couple things here and there, a couple nicks, but for, you know, $5,900, what more can you ask for? I mean, that's about as cheap as it's going to get. But what I'm going to point out to you guys today is that with Ducatis, you can go 10, 12, maybe 15 years in the past, and you can still get something that looks pretty cool and pretty modern. But I gotta say, if you pick up this Ducati, nobody's gonna think this is a brand new motorcycle. It's a pretty old looking bike, so that's something you'll have to contend with. Moving on. Next up, a 2016 Ducati Panigale 959, going for $10,000. Now, the 959 was the predecessor to the V2, not the current V2, the old V2, which was the last true Super Quattro twin-cylinder Ducati race bike product. Now, that's a big deal because these bikes are not really made in this way anymore. Ducati does not make a proper super sport race replica twin-cylinder anymore. There's really not too much different between the 959 and the V2. There were a couple electronic updates, a couple bodywork updates, but fundamentally it's the same frame and engine. I think the V2 got like 3 or 4 extra horsepower, but you're really not going to miss it. The Super Quattro engine and character is still there. So these have depreciated pretty well. I mean, $10,000 for a 10-year-old Ducati, pretty decent. The front headlight look of it is a little bit old school nowadays, but I still think in the white colorway with the red wheels, this has given me that, okay, this is an expensive, cool motorcycle vibe. Ducatis just have a different presence on the road about them. I mean, if you buy a 10-year-old, $10,000 Japanese motorcycle, it's going to look like any other crotch rocket that people think of, but the Ducatis have a different allure about them, and if you want to just appear a little bit more like you're balling on a budget, perhaps, the Ducati's a great way to do it. Let's see what the seller says. Very well kept, low mileage Ducati 959, ready to ride, maintained at Ducati Austin, clean blue title, flew free to ask questions and come and see it, located just north of Austin. So if you catch this video recently after it goes live, maybe you can go and pick up this motorcycle. Let's take some closer looks at the photo. As you can see, the shock here is located on the left side of the bike. It's got that kind of like asymmetrical shock look about it. These sorts of photos are a bit weird to me though, because you can't really see what's going on with the bike. I really think this front end has not aged super well. I think the V2 style and that new V4 style, not the new one, the 6th generation V4 and those look the best, I think. These are okay. They kind of have that weird bird look in the front of them. Worst of all was the Multistrada from that era. My God, the Multistrada has never been a particularly good-looking motorcycle. Always had a bit of a giant dodo bird effect about it, but I think it's gotten better over time. But these look really nice from the rear, right? We can all agree that the V2 and the 959 just had that classic Ducati twin-cylinder superbike vibe about them. The baby super sport vibe about them. Just really, really nice. But the thing is, we're not seeing any photos that are up close and personal, which is kind of annoying. You know, when you're looking at a motorcycle listing like this, you definitely want to see something up close. You want to kind of take a look and see if you can spot, you know, some issues with the bike or anything like that. Like I am seeing some chain grease on the exhaust, not a huge deal, but for future reference, if you're listing and selling your motorcycle, give us some high res, give us some close-up photos, and we will all be happier for it. All right, here's what I was saying about oddball, way older Ducatis, the sort of Ducati that has no aura to it, perhaps negative aura. Somehow you buy a Ducati, but it's still going to be a total nerd machine. I could see a D&D Dungeon Master being an owner of this motorcycle, someone who maybe enjoys craft beer, just something a bit odd for this one, right? So here we have the 2004 Ducati Multistrada 1000 DS. This was one of the first iterations of the Multistrada, if memory serves me correctly. Pierre Terblanche designed. Very controversial. Not many people like the way these look. I think they've aged reasonably well. I don't think that they're the coolest thing in the world. They do have a little bit of like, you know, 50-year-old European dork dad energy. That's the best way I can describe it. But let's see what this seller says. It says, runs great. Bulletproof engine with lots of low-end torque, and that is true. That's a 2-valve air-cooled motor. This thing traces its lineage way back in the Ducati lineup, and they are pretty bulletproof as long as you keep up with the belts and the Desmos, and that's basically it, really. He's got the top case fitting 2 helmets or a full bag of groceries, so this is your commuter, your go-getter. Recent work includes having throttle body synced up by Ducati, installing new chain and sprockets, fork seals, valve adjustment, and tank replacement done at $18,500. I'm not sure why it had a tank replacement. Might be a known issue with these. Bike will eventually need another valve check and clutch back replacement. Still original clutch discs. I mean, with any Ducati, especially an older one, the sentence will eventually need another valve check might as well be something you just do annually. These older models, especially the 2-valve air-cooled Desmo motors, they pretty much required service every 7,500 miles. That was either Desmos and or belts. I think belts happened every 15,000 miles, if memory serves me correctly. This gentleman says, if you have the tools and some patience, this is actually a very fun bike to work on. And that actually is true. Included is the shop manual. That's really nice. Bike has a clean title despite being dropped while parked, some scratches. All damaged parts were replaced with original or aftermarket upgrades. That is something that shouldn't necessarily turn you off about an older Ducati is, although they are a little bit more maintenance heavy, they are simpler machines. And a lot of them, have the engines just exposed. And so they're not necessarily difficult to work on. Just you need a little bit of patience, and you need to have special tools, and you need to really know what you're doing, especially if you're going to be doing the timing belts on these. But the Multistrada, I think, is a motorcycle that was ahead of its time. I mean, the stature of it, the tall rounder thing, the general vibe of the bike, this was a motorcycle that really set the tone. And I actually think these are pretty cool. This is a bike you can do lots of mileage on, enjoy, really have fun with, have something really unique that you can really love. But again, maybe not the coolest Ducati you could buy, but not everybody cares about trying to look cool or whatever. So the Multistrada, might be a good pickup. Got those simple little axial mounted brakes, not a whole lot of stopping power on these, some pretty thin little rotors as well. I do like the simplistic look of that single-sided swing arm and wheel right there. That does look nice. I mean, what other touring motorcycle are you going to get that has a trellis frame, single-sided swing arm, undertail exhaust? I mean, it's pretty outrageous, right? It's pretty awesome. It's a really neat machine, really interesting, and for the right buyer, going to make a lot of sense. I mean, this type of stuff is not a big deal if you're going to use the bike for what it was intended to be used for. 26,980 miles on the clock, gauge cluster looking clean. Doesn't appear to be turned on, so not a huge deal if it has a check engine right there. 2026 is starting to feel a little different, and I can't help but wonder if this green Moto Guzzi has anything to do with it. This bike is really cool. Transverse V, shaft drive, and of course, this beautiful green paint job. It's up for grabs on YamiNoob.co as our next giveaway motorcycle. Head over to the website, click the link down below, become a member, and get your chances locked and loaded to win this bike. If that doesn't interest you, you can always pick up a hat, a t-shirt, hoodie, support the show, and every dollar you spend is an entry to win this bike, subject to a multiplier. Hit that link down below. I really appreciate it. And let's get back to the show. 2013 Ducati Panigale 1199. Okay, so the 1199, if you don't know, this was when Ducati started really plus-sizing their flagship twin-cylinder superbike. This was before they had the V4. So some of you who have not been riding for very long, in 2017, Ducati debuted the V4 and started working on that as a platform for the street. But up until then, Ducati was only known for twin cylinders. And so these 1199s and subsequently 1299s were some of the last hurrahs of like Ducati's gigantic twin cylinder superbikes. And these things are raw. These things are animals. They did have some electronics, some traction control and those sort of things, but they are still very rowdy, very powerful motorcycles. So the seller says, runs and rides great, no trades, cash only, price is firm, Texas title in hand, full titanium Van Diemen exhaust, tuned rear brake delete, comes with the rotor if you want to put it back on. Oh boy, we have a rear brake deleter. Guess what he's doing with the bike? Roll racing, baby. That is so stupid. Why would you delete the rear brake? That basically makes no sense. I also see that the rear has a carbon fiber element to it. This bike was probably crashed at some point and is not being talked about. Tires are like new. 3 driving modes, race, sport, and wet. Full customizable settings for each. Why are you talking to me like I have a double-digit IQ? I know it's riding modes, and if I want to find out the riding modes, I'll just Google it. Don't waste my time with the listing with that. That's so ridiculous. This bike has been a ton of fun to ride and never let me down. I'm wanting to go to something a little smaller, though, and it's just been sitting. I took it out last weekend and put about 50, 60 miles on it and ran flawless the whole time. AKA, I'm scared of it because it's a giant twin-cylinder Ducati superbike, and it just wants to kill me. Let's take a look at this. So we have some cheese ball squid mods on the front fairings here. You guys can see this is the same body style as that 959 we saw earlier, but yeah, it has not aged in the same way, but still has that Ducati panache about it. Single-sided swing arm, red wheels. I really wish they would bring back this white and red combo. You can see here some scuffs on the plastics, the new rear end. This motorcycle was definitely crashed. Definitely, I can't even, I mean, I'm almost positive this motorcycle was crashed at some point, and that's the reason we have these low-res photos. It's the reason why all the photos are taken far away, and that's why we're not going to get any additional details. So this type of seller for $6,800, you might think, oh my goodness, I'm going to get a Ducati superbike that looks like this for $6,800. No, what you're going to get is a lemon that's not going to work right, that's probably going to track like this, that has scratches on it, that is not nice. Don't do it. A cheap Ducati is a dumb Ducati. Do not buy a cheap Ducati superbike. That is a bad idea. 2002 Ducati 998S Bostrom Edition number 78 of 155 going for $22,000 redues. Now, boys, this one is the real deal. Wow. Let's talk about it a little bit. This seller says, bike is kept indoors in my study. Love that. Only has 12,000 miles, runs perfectly. 12,000 miles and it's that clean is ridiculous. It does not get written regularly anymore, but it's started regularly. That's good. All stock parts included, less exhaust and sprockets. Don't hesitate to contact with any questions or more pics. Bike is in the San Antonio area, asking $22,000 or best offer. Let's take a look at the old 998 Bostrom Edition. So if you don't know, Bostrom refers to Ben Bostrom, who was a AMA motorcycle racer who raced with Ducati and I believe did a stint in World Superbike as well. Pretty successful racer, if memory serves me correctly, and Ducati adorned one of their 998s with a limited edition for Ben Bostrom with his number on it, which is pretty sweet. So this is a proper race replica motorcycle signed by Mr. Ben himself. The old school shell livery on it. It's got the domino grips. I mean, it looks like a race bike. It feels like a race bike, and the 998 is the final culmination of the 916 body style. So this has the bigger engine. It's just really, really nice, dude. Like, this is a great vintage, custom bikes like this where people have thoughtfully gone through and done things here and there. Like, this seller has added, little farkles and features and just kept the bike really nice. But like, this is a motorcycle with provenance, right? It's number 78 of 155, built by Ducati. Like, this isn't somebody's one-off custom project. It has race pedigree and history. What's nice about it, too, is it doesn't look like it was abused on track. So this is a really cool collector's piece if you want as well. It's got I believe these are the, like, race style buttons. I don't know why people swap these instead of just keeping the stock ones on. I never really understood that. I see a different master cylinder on here and brake lever as well. The dry clutch, the aero exhaust, like, I think for some of you out there, you might see these flames and the stars and you might think, man, that thing looks kind of cheeseball. But here's what you have to remind yourself of. It's got a blue frame, which you never saw on any other Ducatis at the time. Blue wheels, single-sided swing arm, undertail exhaust. Like, it's a proper race replica motorcycle that's period correct and of the time. And if that's what you're looking for, really, really cool. To the evolved motorcyclist, someone who's been around the block for a long time, for me, if I was at a gas station and I've exited with my lime cucumber Gatorade in hand and a snack in another, and at the gas pump there is a brand spanking new Ducati Panigale V4, and then next to it is this. As an experienced motorcyclist, my eye is going straight to this thing. This is unique, it's special, it's interesting, and you're probably not going to see another listing like this anytime soon. So very, very cool listing. Moving on. All right, let's talk about this 2014 Ducati for $12,950. Seller does not tell us what it is. We have to deduce based on the plastics here. It does say $1199. This is the same generation as that 2013 we just saw, so this is nearly twice the price, and we have a lot to say about this. Let's see what the owner says first, shall we? Seller says, this is a super bike. This is a very powerful bike. 2 owners, very well maintenance. It has multiple modes. You can set how high you can ride a wheelie. Brand new brakes, brand new tires, brand new battery. Oil has been changed. It is my daily driver as well. Only reason selling, trying to get a vehicle for my family. It boggles my mind that there are people walking around out there with a quarter of a brain. Jesus Christ. Okay, so where to begin? The selling point you're trying to give me is how high I can ride a wheelie. You can't even spell wheelie. And I'm not going to assume that is just autocorrect. This just run-on sentence is just ridiculous. This is just absurd. How is this your daily driver? Like, why do you have an $11.99 Panigale as your daily? And then you're like, wait, I need a vehicle for my family. When we talk about priorities being out of whack, this is what it looks like. You have no education. You somehow have a Ducati that is your only bike, and you need a car for your family, but you just have the bike. Like, what is going on? Like, fix your life. What is this? Of course, we took a photo with the Maserati in the back to try to flex up or whatever. And the problem, the problem that is happening with the older Ducatis now is they've come down in price such that, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, that's what you're watching the channel for, the people who can now buy them probably shouldn't buy them. And the reason I'm saying that is because Ducatis are very particular machines. They have specific performance envelopes, they have specific maintenance schedules, they have very specific parts and maintenance schedules. This is not a bike for everybody. I think any Joe Schmo can go buy a ZX10 or whatever and be an idiot and just go straight on the highway, and the bike is probably going to be fine. If you buy an old $11.99 Panigale, you could do that. It's probably going to cost you 2 to 3 times as much, and it's a different kind of ball game, you know? And of course, we have the Instagram handle on the windshield because that's what matters, folks. That's what matters. Come on. Let's take a look. Grainy, bad photo where I can't tell anything of the bike. Also, just as a side note for everybody out there, this is the worst angle to take of your motorcycle. The wheel pitched off to the other side against the kickstand with a fully faired bike looking forward. This is the most awkward angle that a motorcycle can be at. So don't take photos of bikes like this because it doesn't look good. This is the other photo we have, far away, just backpack on the ground, clearly just stopped while riding at some point. Very cool, very nice. And that's the last photo we have. So that doesn't really help us a whole lot, does it? Oh, that is very, very silly. $11.99 Panigale, cool bike, but they are now going to start coming up with a lot of maintenance and a lot of issues, so I don't think this is the right one to get for a lot of you in that price bracket. But again, maybe you get that $6,800 one, and then that's your dreams come true. Moving on. All right, next up is 2021 Ducati Streetfighter for $20,000. This one I was really excited to talk about. Gentleman selling his 2021 Ducati Streetfighter V4S. The bike has been meticulously maintained and thoughtfully modified. Look at this person writing in complete sentences. Isn't that nice? No shortcuts, only top-tier parts. Recently serviced by Ducati Austin, new chain and sprockets, price OBO, or best offer. There's got a Kropovich full racing exhaust system with up map. It's a V4S, so it has the electronic suspension, Brembo style on the brakes, forged wheels, and all the electronics you expect from Ducatis. Adult-owned, garage-kept, never abused, clean title in hand. Mwah! Chef's kiss. Here we go, folks. This is the real deal value that you want to find. You might say, yeah, but the other one was $7,000 cheaper or whatever. Let me tell you something. A 2021 Ducati Streetfighter V4S with a full Kropovich exhaust back in 2021, if you were to buy this motorcycle, tax title, license, registration, all that stuff, you know, and then the Kropovich and the mods this gentleman's done to this bike was pushing well north of $33,000, probably $35,000. The Kropovich exhausts on these are not cheap. That is an expensive part to put on this bike. Ask me how I know, right? We tried to spec out quite a few of our Ducatis with full system exhausts, and I just couldn't pull the trigger on it. I was like, this just doesn't make any sense. I'm not going to spend that kind of money just to make the bike a little louder. So very, very nice flexy kind of part. If you want to post some cool pictures on Instagram, that's the bike to do it. So again, electronic suspension, full Kropovich exhaust, $20,000. It's not bad. You know, that's not a bad deal. If memory serves you correctly, when I found this listing, it had about 7,700 miles on the clock, I think. And it's very well kept. I mean, this bike is not beat up in any way. I mean, it's super clean. Look at that. So he's got the rear sets. He's got the carbon bits. That looks nice, dude. Like, I would be very happy to open my garage and see that and be like, yep, I got a Streetfighter V4S with a full Acura. Life is good. Life is very good. Because these are really fun to ride. These have the Desmo Sudici Stradale V4. They rev out to like 15,000 RPM. We had one as a giveaway bike back in 2022. I adored it. They are so fun to ride. They are so flexible and easy to ride. They work really well when you ride fast. They work really well when you ride slow speeds. And they look really cool in my opinion. So this one, Best one of the bunch we've seen so far. This is exactly the type of Ducati you want to buy. Slightly depreciated over time, excellent modifications done to it, adult owned and kept. I mean, that's perfect, you know? He's got the tail tidy already done. He's got the tank grips on it. It's super clean. There's not a super crazy amount of wear and tear on the tires. You can tell, like you said, adult owned. Just a really, really nice bike. Yeah, 7,600 miles on the clock. Now, I will say, service on these is going to annihilate you. Servicing the V4s is super expensive, but who cares? It's a V4. It's awesome. I really like these bikes. This is one of my favorite listings for today, and definitely one of the highest value that you can find. Moving on. All right, last up for today is a 2014 Ducati Monster 1200S for $8,400. I wanted to feature this one because these bikes are crazy slept on right now. Crazy slept on. If you don't know, in the mid-2010s, Ducati was starting to phase out their big twin-cylinder products. The Monster had so many different iterations of it, and the 1200S was such a great bike. Such a great bike. If you like things like the KTM Super Duke, the Speed Triple 1200R, or the Double R, right? This is Ducati's version of that before they did the Streetfighter V4. So this is the classic roadster proportions of the Monster, that muscular haunched gas tank, the trellis frame, but the big twin engine, single-sided swing arm. Honestly, for me, this is a great pickup. So this seller says a little over 11,000 miles. It was recently serviced with full fluids. It's in great condition for the year and mileage. I do agree. It looks really, really good. It looks good, sounds good, and rides good. He's got new Michelin Road 6 tires on it. Can we just give a shout out to the man for getting the correct tire on this machine? How many times have I told you guys, if you have a street motorcycle you're not tracking, just get Michelin Road 6s and call it a day. This guy knows what's up. So RSV rear sets, rear pegs. He's got the Works exhaust, the Rapid Bike Evo tuner, a couple other odds and ends, clean title in his name. He's selling it because he bought a performance car and doesn't ride as often, and he's making some garage space. Totally understand that. So 1200S, Olin suspension. This one looks great, dude. You can tell me this is a 12-year-old motorcycle. This is timeless. This will always look good, dude. This bike will always look good. It's classy, it's subtle, it's, God, these are so great. Look at the silhouette of this bike. Look how muscular it is. Again, if you like the FTR, if you like the Super Duke, you like big torquey twins, Ducati did it first and Ducati does it best, dude. I don't want to sound like such a simp, but I'm telling you, listen to me, because I have experience. Please, these bikes rip. The Monster, man, I've almost bought a Monster so many times. I almost bought an S4R not long ago, and now I'm kind of thinking about maybe I just pick up this 1200S. These are just sweet, aren't they? And they've got the slightly older Ducati dash on them, but who cares, He's got the interesting little halo rings on the fork. Really sweet bike, man. Really cool bike, and a great pickup at $8,400. Really, truly. Well, boys, that's going to wrap up the state of Ducati owners here on Facebook Marketplace, the listings that I have compiled. Let me know what you think down below in the comments, and I will catch you guys in the next one. See you later.